邪魔だな。おい。
There's the OP MC flexing, and then there are OP character flexing. Get it? One Piece moments are so outrageous and over the top that you can't help but watch them over and over again. Am I right? Today we're talking about some of the best moments when One Piece characters flex too hard. Let's begin. To start, we have Rayleigh, the old guy who looks like he should be retired and fishing, but instead he's out here casually reminding everyone why he's called the Dark King.
なんだ没有レイリー
In the world of One Piece, there are three lines you're not supposed to cross. The Grand Line, the Red Line, and Rayleigh's Line. And trust me, the last one is the deadliest. When the Marines went after Luffy, Rayleigh stopped them and drew a line between him and them, advising them not to cross it. So yeah, that was the day no asses were kicked because no one was stupid enough to step to Rayleigh. And honestly, who could blame them? When the Dark King draws a line, it's not just a warning, it's a death sentence in disguise. This scene shows once more that Rayleigh isn't an evil person. He lets them choose their fate and doesn't kill them right away.
この線は
越えないことを進める。
Whiskey Peak, where Zoro gave us one of the most hilarious and badass moments in One Piece.
まずは湯橋軽いいい刀だ
You see, the Straw Hats roll into a seemingly friendly town where everyone is acting super hospitable, throwing a big feast in their honor. But of course, this is One Piece, so nothing is ever that simple. Turns out the townsfolk are actually bounty hunters from Baroque Works, planning to take the crew down the moment they pass out. Except they forgot one tiny little detail. Zoro don't play like that. While everyone else is snoozing from the food and booze, Zoro's sitting there like, oh, you thought I wouldn't notice? The bounty hunters, clearly underestimating their target, swarm him by the dozens, thinking they've got this in the bag, but it's a big mistake. Zoro proceeds to solo the entire town of bounty hunters in one of the most comically one-sided fights in the series. Moral of the story, never underestimate a man who can get lost walking in a straight line, but will always find his way to a fight. We have to talk about the time when Sanji flexed something even bigger than his legs, his heart.
行け。
える
Sanji's I needed a light moment was a legendary display of both guts and sass that only the Straw Hat could pull off. It happens during the fight against Enel, the self-proclaimed lightning god who thinks he's untouchable because, well, he's made of actual lightning, isn't he? Sanji, however, isn't here to bow down to any deity wannabe, he's here to flex. Now, when Enel zaps him with enough voltage to power an entire city, he casually stands up, brushes himself off, and hits Enel with the most nonchalant line in One Piece history. Oh, I just needed a light. Why is this moment such a flex? First, it's peak Sanji energy. The guy gets fried by the literal embodiment of lightning and still finds time to crack a one-liner. Secondly, it shows how Sanji remains cool under pressure. Sanji knows he's outmatched, but he doesn't let that stop him from giving it his all. And finally, it's the ultimate mic drop moment. Enel might have the power, but Sanji's got the guts, and in One Piece, that's half the battle.
悪いな。タバコの火欲しかったとこだ。
Let's move on to Aokiji and the moment this dude casually decided to freeze the sea just to prove a point.
アイスH。
I have have to admit, before Aokiji showed up, the Marines didn't really seem to be that strong. This dude is the one who actually made us feel hyped for them. Anyway, things take a serious turn when Aokiji shows what he's really capable of. The guy dips his hand into the ocean and freezes everything. We're not just talking about a small patch of ice here. He freezes an entire stretch of sea for miles. What's truly impressive is the speed of his ability. He froze the entire sea in a matter of seconds. Aokiji's devil fruit takes what should be his biggest weakness, water, and turns it into his greatest strength. It's such a flex because it completely flips the script on what it means to be a devil fruit user. For anyone else, the sea is their doom. For Aokiji, it's just another part of his arsenal. So yeah, Aokiji freezing the sea is really cool, pun intended. Moment when Shanks rolled up to Whitebeard's ship, a scene so legendary it might as well have come with its own theme song and a slow motion entrance.
相変わらずすげえ覇気だ。失礼。敵戦につき少々威嚇した。
You see, Shanks' entrance isn't ordinary. When he enters, he makes a statement, given that he appears once in a blue moon. Sure, the man doesn't need flashy moves or a loud announcement. His sheer presence is enough to shake the very foundation of the pirate world. Imagine having such an incredibly strong conqueror's haki that you end up knocking out Whitebeard's crew left and right like dominoes. He doesn't even lift a finger. All he does is step onto the deck and bam, half the crew is out cold. It's like the ultimate mic drop, but instead of a mic, it's dozens of unconscious bodies scattered across the floor. Shanks doesn't need to fight, shout, or make a scene. His existence is enough to remind everyone in the vicinity that he's a Yonko, one of the strongest individuals in the world. When you can assert dominance without even trying, you know you're on another level.
誰にも止められなくなるぞ。暴走するこの時代を。
Next up, we have Kizaru versus the Supernovas, a moment where the man himself, the glinting light of the Marines, shows exactly why you don't mess with an admiral. The fight is like the ultimate showdown between speed and power, and spoiler alert, Kizaru is the embodiment of both. You see, the worst generation are all standing tall and proud, thinking they've got what it takes to take down a Marine admiral. They've got their insane powers, their huge egos, and a lot of ambition. They've been making waves, and now they're facing off against Kizaru, who's like the embodiment of light speed trolling. Kizaru starts moving so fast that it's literally a joke. He's not running, he's teleporting with light speed kicks, knocking out pirates like they're nothing. Getting kicked at the speed of light? Yeah, you'd be lucky if there was anything left of you after that. Why is this so much fun? Because it's the ultimate flex. The worst generation might be strong, they might be ambitious, and they might have big dreams, but Kizaru, he's like, yeah, I've been doing this for years. You want to challenge me? Cool, good luck. Ace completely destroying Baroque Works' fleet is a moment when you sit up and think, damn, Ace is a straight up beast. You see, Luffy and gang are dealing with the whole Alabaster mess, and Baroque Works, led by Crocodile, have been pulling all the strings behind the scenes, causing chaos in the kingdom. The Straw Hats are knee-deep in it, trying to stop Crocodile and his criminal organization from taking over. But then, bam! Ace shows up and decides he's had enough of this nonsense. Now, Ace is known for his devil fruit powers. He's got the Mira Mira no Mi, the flame fruit, which means he's literally made of fire. So when he comes in, it's not subtle. He's burning through Baroque Works' forces like it's nothing. They had this massive organization working behind the scenes, but all it took was one man with a Logia fruit to turn it into a blazing inferno. The sheer power and ease with which he took down Baroque Works' fleet makes this moment one of the most epic flexes in One Piece history. Going to the next one now, we've got Magellan flexing his powers on Blackbeard and his crew, making it clear he's got no patience for Blackbeard's nonsense.
たちがここへ来た理由を聞く時間もない。
This dude single-handedly defeated Blackbeard and his crew in seconds. I mean, he could literally kill them right there if he wanted to. Magellan really is a total mad lad. He didn't think twice about attacking Blackbeard, even though he's a warlord. I absolutely love how he doesn't waste time and just immediately goes for an all-out lethal attack. Magellan almost ended Blackbeard's dream right there. Magellan wasn't just the warden of Impel Down, he was the embodiment of poison, death, and authority. And anyone who thought they could challenge him was about to get a toxic reality check. The way Magellan humiliated Blackbeard is what makes this a great flex. Dude wasn't scared or even intimidated, he handled the situation so smoothly that even Blackbeard was left looking like a fool. Total boss move. Alright, let's talk about Doflamingo's overkill mode. And let me tell you this man takes flexing to a whole new level. When it comes to being a villain, Doflamingo is like the one guy who doesn't just play the game, he rewrites the rules. Imagine having so much power, you could literally crush anyone with a snap of your fingers and then you proceed to break their spirit. That's Doflamingo in a nutshell. In his fight against Luffy and Kairos, dude literally split the palace in half just by kicking the air. Man, how insane is it that Doflamingo just casually kicks through every single palace tower like it's no big deal? I mean, it took Gaku a whole 10 seconds using both legs and a full-on swing to pull off a kick that could take down a tower. But Doflamingo, he just does it like it's walking through a door. And the best part, physical combat isn't even his main game. He's all about manipulating people with his strings, but when he wants to flex, he absolutely decimates everything in his path without breaking a sweat. You all know how much anime is a part of my life, right? And let's be real, nothing beats showing that love by collecting some awesome merch. I was just scrolling, thinking about which figurine to add to my collection next, and boom, today's sponsor came through like fate. Let me tell you about the anime merch. These guys are a treasure trove for anime fans. They've got everything from detailed figurines to gorgeous LED lamps and light boxes that'll make your setup shine. I couldn't resist grabbing a Luffy figurine for myself. He looks so good with the rest of my collection. They have it all if you're into Naruto, Bleach, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, or Chainsaw Man. And guess what? Even the latest anime like Dan and Solo Leveling. And here's the best part, they've hooked us up with a special deal. Use my code VINI at checkout and you'll get 10% off your first order. How cool is that? So what are you waiting for? Go check out theanimemerch.com right now. Let's move on to the scene when Zoro absolutely flexed on Pika in one of the most epic moments of the Dressrosa arc.
一大三千大戦世界
See, Pika is a massive guy with the ability to control rock and stone, and he's basically turned himself into a giant walking fortress made of rock. He's pretty much the definition of, I'm tough and invincible. But Zoro's not fazed by that at all. In one clean, effortless swing, he just slices through Pika like it's nothing. Like, imagine the sheer guts it takes to look at something that big and go, I got this. And just to add some extra flavor to the flex, Zoro doesn't even break a sweat. Does anyone even grasp the sheer level of humiliation Zoro put Pika through in this fight? I mean, Zoro didn't just beat Pika, he obliterated him like he was a total non-factor. Pika, this massive towering rock titan, was reduced to nothing with a single swipe of Zoro's blade.
上出来だ
And we can't forget about the moment when Law just casually decided to show the Marines that their whole we can control the battlefield vibe wasn't really gonna fly when he was around.
誰一人逃がすわけにはいかねえ
This moment is a perfect example of Law's overpowered abilities and just how much of a flex they really are. Law uses his Ope Ope no Mi or Op fruit to create his signature room, which is basically a domain where he can control pretty much everything within it. The sheer power of it is ridiculous, but what makes this moment even more insane is how Law uses his room on the Marines during the Punk Hazard arc. He moves them around like chess pieces, pulling off all these crazy maneuvers without lifting a finger. He's just chilling, casually rearranging them and messing with their positions as if they were dolls. rules. It's almost like Law's playing his own personal game of Tetris, and the Marines, well, they're just the blocks getting shoved around and dissected.
Miss.
カムサリ
Moving on, we have Shanks absolutely breaking Kid's spirit. So Eustace Kid, with all the audacity in the world, thought it would be a good idea to waltz into an Emperor's territory and pick a fight with none other than Shanks. Well, talk about overestimating your crew's strength. Kid thought he had a chance, but when he launched an attack on the red-haired pirates, it took just one member of Shanks' crew to completely decimate the Kid pirates. Then came the real showstopper. Shanks unleashed his Divine Departure, a move first used by none other than the legendary Goldie Roger. Seeing Shanks wield that power was absolutely divine. It was like watching a living legend in action. And Kid, yeah, he didn't stand a chance. This is the same Kid who fought against Big Mom for a while and even defeated her with some help, but that single move from Shanks made it clear that the red-haired Emperor was on a whole other level. Now, let me tell you about the time when Whitebeard made the sea itself do a little flip to remind everyone who the real boss is. So Whitebeard, the world's strongest man, is going toe-to-toe with John Giant, who's no slouch himself, towering over the battlefield like a walking mountain. But Whitebeard, nah, he's not impressed. And just for fun, he decides to tilt the whole sea. You know, no big deal, just a casual flex to let everyone know who's still in charge. This was the moment when the audience and even Luffy finally saw what the top really looked like. Let me tell you, it wasn't just John Giant who was about to be humbled. Everyone around him, including the Marines, got a front row seat to just how insane Whitebeard's power truly was. And remember, this isn't just old Whitebeard, this is old Whitebeard with a terminal illness. Whitebeard's sheer power was a whole other league, one that most pirates can only dream of. Luffy versus Lucci was one of the most highly anticipated fights in the history of One Piece. And that was the fight that made everyone lose their minds. Let's rewind a little bit. Rob Lucci, the same guy who gave Luffy one of his toughest fights back in Enies Lobby, is now rocking that drip and feeling all kinds of confident. After all, he's a hardened assassin with years of experience and a brand new transformation under his belt. But Luffy? Luffy's not playing games anymore. He's out here in Gear 5, aka Looney Tunes mode, laughing, bouncing around, and looking like he's having the time of his life. Lucci, on the other hand, is all serious, ready to throw hands. You can practically hear the record scratch when Luffy casually knocks him out with one punch like it's no big deal. What makes this moment so epic is the sheer disrespect. Luffy didn't just beat Lucci, he clowned him. This wasn't a long, drawn-out battle full of blood, sweat and tears like their first fight. Nope, this was Luffy flexing the insane power gap between them now. Diving into one of Kaido's wildest flexes, the time he was so overpowered, he got bored of life itself.
なんだこの怪物はくそ頭痛え死ねねえもんだなまた生きちまった
Like, imagine being so strong, so indestructible, that you start treating death as your ultimate hobby and still fail at it. That's Kaido for you. This guy's nickname isn't the strongest creature in the world for nothing. People have tried everything to kill him. Swords, spears, cannons, even executions. But no, nothing works. He's even been captured multiple times by the Navy and rival crews, and every time he either escapes or just tanks whatever punishment they throw at him. You see, Kaido gets so fed up with being invincible that he tries to end himself. Like, who would do that? He jumps off a freaking sky island, a place so high up that falling from it should reduce anyone else to a red splatter on the ground. But what happens to Kaido? He crashes down, creates a massive crater, and then just walks off like he tripped on a curb. The whole "I can't die no matter what" shtick makes Kaido an absolute legend. It's one thing to be strong, but to be so strong that death itself gives up? Now that's next level dominance.
世界最高の戦争始めようぜ。インパクト
One of the most jaw-dropping moments in One Piece, Garp unleashing his legendary galaxy impact, a move so devastating it feels like it could shake the stars themselves. This epic punch doesn't just hit, it sends shockwaves that resemble a cosmic explosion living up to its astronomical name. It's the kind of move that reminds everyone why Garp is a marine legend and why he's still a force to be reckoned with. Garp uses his awe-inspiring technique to save Kobe, his beloved student, who's been kidnapped by pirates. And when Garp throws down, he doesn't just hit his target, he obliterates everything in the vicinity. Solid ground reduced to rubble. Structures all gone. The battlefield is left as nothing but a massive crater, proof of the sheer force behind his punch. It's not just an attack, it's like a declaration of absolute dominance. The moment is pure hype, showing just how insane Garp's strength really is. It genuinely feels like he could make the entire earth tremble with one punch. Unbelievable power with legendary execution. This scene truly cements Garp as one of the greatest.
納得いかんのすっかり驚いた
Let's talk about the time when Kaido decided to remind everyone why he's called the strongest creature in the world by casually one-shotting Luffy like it was nothing.
雷鳴発見
Now, Luffy, fresh off his win against Katakuri and feeling like he's on top of the world, rolls up to Kaido's turf with all the confidence in the world. He's got that fiery determination, his haki's blazing, and he's ready to throw down. And Kaido, he's like, oh, this kid, cute. Luffy goes all out, gear forth, King Kong gun, and the whole works. The kind of effort that could level mountains. But Kaido? This man doesn't even flinch. He tanks all of it like he's swatting a fly and then casually swings his massive kanabo. One Thunder Bagua later, and boom, Luffy's out cold, face down in the dirt. The sheer difference in power is humbling, showing that Luffy still has a long way to go before he can even dream of standing toe-to-toe with the Yonko.
何の王になるだと小僧
Do you remember that moment when Luffy unlocked Gear 5 and turned the battlefield into his personal cartoon show? Well, let's talk about that. Kaido was mid-monologue, flexing his Yonko superiority when suddenly Luffy's heart decided to remix the battle soundtrack with the iconic drums of liberation. And then, boom, Gear 5. Luffy literally broke the fourth wall of the entire One Piece universe. With his new godly tune-like powers, Luffy turned Kaido's brutal life-or-death battle into what felt like Saturday morning Looney Tunes. At one point, Kaido went to attack and Luffy literally grabbed the ground like a piece of stretchy rubber and slammed it over him like a blanket. Who does that? Only Luffy. And let's not forget the moment he turned his giant fist into a city-sized wrecking ball to punch Kaido so hard you'd think that the planet was gonna crack. Iconic, unstoppable, and ridiculously fun. That's Gear 5 Luffy for you. And with that, we'll be wrapping up this list of the moments when One Piece characters flex too hard. Looking for something more? Take a look at the most legendary one-shots in One Piece. See you soon.